सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
This episode of Cut The Clutter takes us back to the stories we've done a couple of weeks back, the serial episodes of Cut The Clutter on gangsters. Gangsters, Atiq assassinated, killed in public on camera, Mukhtar Ansari getting his fresh convictions. We also talk about Brijesh Singh, who had been released on conditional bail, the old rival, gangster rival of Mukhtar Ansari. We've talked about all of them. And then we talked about Anand Mohan Singh in Bihar, who was serving a life sentence for assassinating an IAS officer, Krishnaya, and also about his rivalry with another storied gangster politician of Bihar, Brij Bihari Prasad. So if you thought all of that was not complicated enough, something's happened today, and it's a death which has just passed under the radar. It's the death of a 90-year-old. In fact, it's a controversial man. It's also somebody from a time when maybe birth certificates or certainly birth certificates were not to be found. So if you read up on him, if you read up on Hari Shankar Tiwari in this case, you will find his age mentioned at 85 to 88 to 90 at death. What we know is that in 1960, that is 63 years back, he passed his master's in sociology at University of Gorakhpur. So an educated man, Brahmin, Hari Shankar Tiwari. He passed away. Now, as I mentioned him, why did I take you back to all the gangster tales we talked about? Because the fact is that Hari Shankar Tiwari in many ways was the original gangster of eastern UP and parts of Bihar also. Because Gorakhpur is on the border with Nepal. Gorakhpur is also where a lot of the Northeastern Railways headquarters, a lot of their installations are, and thereby a lot of contracts are available, particularly in railway scrap, because railways actually release a lot of scrap. They create a lot of scrap. If I take you back to our Allahabad Atiq Khan episodes of Cut The Clutter, we had talked about there also how Atiq had risen in Allahabad through tussle over railway contracts, railway scrap contracts. So Gorakhpur had the same issue. Now, Hari Shankar Tiwari rose to be the preeminent gangster in Gorakhpur. Now, you might say with some justification, Shekhar Gupta, you must say alleged gangster. So, all right, alleged gangster, because the fact is that Hari Shankar Tiwari was never convicted. He had 33 cases, at one point 50 cases. At that point, 9 of those cases were of murder, another several of attempt to murder, but he never got convicted for the same reason, whereby until the other day, neither Atiq nor Mukhtar Ansari had been convicted, nor Brijesh Singh has been convicted. That is because if you are such a powerful gangster or a mafioso, who will come and stand in the witness box and speak against you? So story after story of witnesses turning hostile. So that Hari Shankar Tiwari has passed away at the age of 90. You see then tweets from senior politicians, Akhilesh Yadav, many others, all singing his praises. There were people at his home, because in these parts, governance is very poor. The law and order machinery doesn't work. Government doesn't have credibility. The government system doesn't have credibility. You can't get justice at courts because either the courts take too long, or once again, witnesses disappear, judges get transferred, prosecuting lawyers get threatened, all kinds of things happen. So where do you go for justice? If you are a poor person, you go for justice to the mafia that you trust in. So you go to the darbar of the mafioso who you trust in. The mafioso then does justice. So mafia leaders then become the judges, the jury, the sheriffs, everything in these places where governance is poor. So Hari Shankar Tiwari was one of those characters. Now Hari Shankar Tiwari had risen very interestingly through the JP movement. JP movement in 1970s was when student politics was at its peak. He was a student politician at Gorakhpur University. All right, you might say he did his master's in 1960. But there's a tradition of people hanging on at campuses. In fact, for whatever it's worth, Hari Shankar Tiwari actually registered for PhD in 1980. He never completed it. He was already doing both things together. He was multitasking. He was running a full-time mafia, and he was also becoming a full-time politician. And as a full-time mafioso, he was also getting involved, now getting caught up in a full-fledged gangster war, gang war with another gang. And in this case, these were caste-based gangs. So he became a leader of the Brahmins. The other gang was the group of the Thakurs or the Rajputs. So this Brahmin versus Rajput, Brahmin versus Thakur gang rivalry in Gorakhpur defined the politics of Eastern UP for a very long time. Hari Shankar Tiwari was the most preeminent of all of these. Also because he never got caught. And because it was over time an impression grew that Brahmins took him very seriously. So every party quoted him. He won 6 elections to UP Assembly. 6 elections. The first election in 1985, he won while he was in jail. He contested from the jail as an independent in a constituency called Chilupar, which is about 50 kilometers south of Gorakhpur, and that became his Karam Bhumi or his constituency. He won 6 times. First time as independent, and then on other parties' tickets. In fact, 3 times on Congress party's ticket. 1985 as independent by himself, 1989, 1991, 1993 on Congress party's ticket. Then with some Congress party leaders, and many of them were prominent Brahmin leaders of the Congress party. This is around time the Congress party is breaking up in the last years of Narasimha Rao, and Sonia has not yet stepped in. 1996, he was among the group that set up the All India Indira Congress with Narayan Dutt Tiwari. I told you, preeminent Brahmin leaders. There were some others there. 1997, he went into Akhil Bharatiya Loktantrik Congress under Jagdambika Pal and Naresh Agrawal. Jagdambika Pal, by the way, is famously or infamously the man who became Chief Minister of UP for one day. 2002, for Akhil Bharatiya Loktantrik Congress, he won his election for the assembly. And look at his cabinet positions. Gangster, well-known gangster. 1997 to 2007. For 10 years, he held a cabinet position. And who were his chief ministers? Who were the chief ministers he served under? Kalyan Singh, Ram Prakash Gupta, Rajnath Singh. Firstly, BJP, right? Then in Mayawati's cabinet, 2007 is when he got his electoral comeuppance. He lost his election. 2012, he lost again, and then he said he's retiring from politics, but it's not so simple as that. His sons joined politics in SP and then BSP, and his sons, nephews, many of them have since served as MLAs or MLCs. I'm not going into details. He, meanwhile, kept on running his empire. Unlike some of the other mafiosi, however, his lifestyle was very simple. He wore Hawaii chappals, he had dhoti, usual Gandhi topi. He wasn't given to the lavish lifestyle of many other gangsters. And that's why among his followers, he acquired even more of a Robin Hood image. Now let's figure out the origins of this Thakur-Brahmin tussle or Thakur gang versus Brahmin gang tussle in Gorakhpur. This goes right back to 1940s, the 1950s. In fact, for authentic reference and background, I found this paper from Contemporary South Asia Journal, and it's a paper titled Politics in Gorakhpur since 1920s, The Making of a Safe Hindu Constituency by Shashank Chaturvedi, David N. Gellner, and Sanjay Kumar Pandey. And this paper says that after independence, because the Hindu political groups had got a bad name because of Gandhi's assassination, the Hindu nationalists were tainted by their association with the assassination of Gandhi, they say, but there was still plenty to fight for in Gorakhpur. That is when in Gorakhpur an ICS officer, Gorakhpur's first ICS officer, S.N.M. Tripathi. S.N.M. Tripathi it is, who was then district magistrate of Gorakhpur. He became famous later as just simply Pandit Tripathi. He thought that this place at Gorakhpur, far away, his full name was Surti Narayan Mani Tripathi, he thought that the place this far away, my home district, it needed a university. So he got some people together to found the Gorakhpur University. So he got all the local people, prominent local people. One of them was Mahant Digvijayanath, who was then the reigning Mathadish or the head of the Gorakhnath Mutt. That is the traditional Nath Sampradaya Mutt from which Yogi Adityanath comes. He is a successor to Mahant Digvijayanath. So Mahant Digvijayanath also joined the founder group of Gorakhpur University. There were also some others. For example, Sardar Sujit Singh Majithia. Now the Majithia family is from Punjab, near Taran, close to Amritsar, not far away from Amritsar. It's the same family whose granddaughter is Harsimrat Badal, married to Sukhbir Singh Badal. You know about her brother, Bikram Majithia, who was a minister, later was also arrested. So it's the same Majithia family. They owned, in those days, a sugar mill not far from Gorakhpur. So there was also S.S. Majithia in the founding group, and there were some others. And because Mr. Tripathi was influential, he raised money from the first two chief ministers of Uttar Pradesh, that is Gobind Ballabh Pant and Sampurna Nand, got 250 acres of land and set up Gorakhpur University. Now, as the university came up, university politics came up. And university politics started at the top. And it started how? Like everything starts in the Hindi heartland. It started on caste basis. So, Mahant Digvijayanath represented, in a way, was seen to represent the Thakur power, whereas Mr. Tripathi or Panditji represented the Brahmin power. And that then carried on in the university. And this became a tradition in the university, Thakur versus Brahmins. And so each side then started looking for strongmen from its respective castes. And this grew into gang warfare going ahead. That's how by mid-70s, Hari Shankar Tiwari came to be the leader of the Brahmins at the university. This was still going on at the university. So some of the things you see in Anurag Kashyap movies are not unrealistic. That's how stuff happened. The 70s was a very violent time for universities, for hostels, for colleges, particularly in the Hindi heartland. And it was at that time that a Thakur group also emerged, led by a man called Balwant Singh. Now, so it became Balwant Singh gang versus Hari Shankar Tiwari gang. In 1978, Balwant Singh was assassinated. By who? Nobody was convicted. Hari Shankar Tiwari wasn't convicted, but ask anybody in Gorakhpur, you know that it was a gang war. So Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang had Balwant Singh killed. Balwant Singh, while he was building his own muscle power to counter Hari Shankar Tiwari's, and Balwant Singh's group had the patronage of the Gorakhnath Mutt because it was Thakur versus Brahmin. Balwant Singh also found another quote-unquote talented guy, right? Everybody is looking for talent in every field. So that talented guy was a man called Virendra Shahi, who came from nearby Basti. He was not from Gorakhpur. In Basti, he used to work with local MLA Ram Kinkar Singh, again doing his dadagiri for petty railway contracts and other similar government contracts. He fought with Ram Kinkar Singh, came into Gorakhpur, Thakur. He went up to Balwant Singh. Balwant Singh saw the talent in him and made him a member of his group. Balwant Singh's successor was a man called Ravindra Singh. Again, Ravindra Singh now picked up the mantle and warfare continued between Ravindra Singh and Hari Shankar Tiwari. Now, 1978-1980 is a very critical time. 1978, we told you that Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang had Balwant Singh assassinated. Balwant Singh was succeeded by Ravindra Singh. This is the time when intergang warfare had really picked up. So, Virendra Shahi, who was now working for Ravindra Singh's gang, he had shot a man called Mrityunjay Dubey in Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang. Mrityunjay Dubey did not die instantly. He was shot in the leg but did not get medical attention in time. So he died of gangrene subsequently. As that happened, Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang carried out a counter hit on Ravindra Singh's gang. In that counter hit, a man called Bechai Pandey. Now, Bechai Pandey is a Brahmin name, so I don't know. People can have assumed names also, or maybe he was actually a Brahmin working for the Thakur gang, Ravindra Singh's gang. So, Bechai Pandey was assassinated now by Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang. Bechai Pandey's body, Virendra Shahi and others were taking. Again, it was an angry mob, not very different from the Anand Mohan Singh case in Bihar. They were also carrying the body of one of their own shooters who had been killed by the rival gang. So they were carrying his body when they ran into a few people from the Hari Shankar Tiwari gang. Virender Shahi killed 3 of them. He killed 3 of them, and as the police chased him, he went running to Lucknow. He went running to Lucknow, and where would he hide? But he went to seek refuge in the house of Ravindra Singh, his boss, his mafioso, who by this time was an MLA. So these people also figured that you could find refuge in politics, and politics protected you. So Virender Shahi survived the police at that point, then joined politics. 1980, he contested assembly election in Purvanchal itself from a constituency in Maharajganj district and won. And because he won as an independent, his symbol as an independent, you get one of the many random symbols. His symbol, or the symbol he chose, was a lion. And that's how he acquired the name Shere Purvanchal, right? So now this was a tussle between his gang and Hari Shankar Tiwari's gang over who will be the real Shere Purvanchal. In the middle of all this, another quote-unquote talent rose. And that quote-unquote talent was Shri Prakash Shukla. We talked about Shri Prakash Shukla in some detail in our Anand Mohan Singh episode, because Shri Prakash Shukla it is who at the age of 26 carried out the assassination of a politician in Patna in the medical college, Indira Gandhi Institute, politician called Brij Bihari Prasad, who was a minister close to Lalu and who was the well-known Bania community gangster in Bihar. So he was assassinated. It was a hit, and he was assassinated apparently because his gang had killed the loyalists of Anand Mohan Singh, whose people in turn under his watch assassinated that district magistrate Kishnaya, who just happened to be passing by, right? So it is that complicated web. So this Shri Prakash Shukla, who was hired to carry out the hit in Patna, he had by now at the age of 26, 27 become a very famous or infamous hitman in Gorakhpur. And when you become so famous and the only thing you're good at is assassinations and crime, then you think, why are people, I should be the boss. Why should people much older than me have the throne? So he thought that if he killed Virender Shahi, which means he would have then struck a big blow to the Thakur gangs, right? Thakur power. Then in the Brahmin Samaj, his prestige would go up. And look at this 26-year-old. He's gone and killed Virender Shahi. Fantastic. He's finished the top leader of the Thakur gang, right? And then he thought, quick shortcut. He could have gone and worked with Hari Shankar Tiwari, but that would take too long, right? Hari Shankar Tiwari was there and he wasn't too old yet. So he thought maybe a better thing now, and we are now taking good to 97, 98, 1997, 1998, he thought that maybe a good thing now, is useful thing now, is to kill Hari Shankar Tiwari as well. Hari Shankar Tiwari at this point was a minister in Kalyan Singh's cabinet, because every cabinet in UP between 1997 and 2007, that is BJP multiple times, SP, BSP, everybody, they needed Hari Shankar Tiwari. Why? Because he was seen as the main Brahmin face and Brahmin leader. Now, I know it's ironic and, in fact, not ironic, but tragic that in a state like UP, where Atal Bihari Vajpayee came from, where the Gandhi Nehru family came from, and so many other, Kamlapati Tripathi and his family, so many great Brahmin leaders came from. You may like them, you may not like them, but they were not mafiosi, right? In that state, a Hari Shankar Tiwari rose as the preeminent Brahmin face that everybody wanted. So Mayawati, if there was an impression that she was anti-Brahmin, she would like to get Hari Shankar Tiwari. Even after Hari Shankar Tiwari retired, both SP and BSP have reached out to his sons because they want them on their side for the Brahmin vote, particularly in eastern UP. So Shri Prakash Shukla thought that if I go and kill Hari Shankar Tiwari, right, then I will immediately take over the mantle of the Brahmin gang leader in eastern UP. And not just that, because he did some tall talk, word spread that he also wanted to kill Kalyan Singh. So UP then set up, Kalyan Singh's government set up a special task force to eliminate him, and he was eliminated in 1998 in that very famous encounter on the outskirts of Delhi on the Noida side. So that is how complicated and how bloody this situation had become. Anytime you try to lift a layer, you find more layers and then more layers and more layers, like those Russian Matryoshka dolls. You open one more comes out, one more comes out, one more comes out. So if you look at Hari Shankar Tiwari's history, he was searching for Brahmin talent all the time. So among those talented people he found was a man called Amar Mani Tripathi. Amar Mani Tripathi was a student again in Gorakhpur University in the 80s. I think student of history. So he found him, and Amar Mani Tripathi then became his key person. Amar Mani Tripathi then rose to be a prominent leader in his own right. Amar Mani Tripathi, by the way, is the man that Virender Shahi beat in his first election when he had the lion symbol. After that, Virender Shahi had no problem. He could always get a party to give him a ticket. This Amar Mani Tripathi later became a politician in his own right. He joined multiple parties. He became minister in UP, even in BJP governments. He's right now serving a life sentence for murdering. He's a convict for murdering poet Madhumita Shukla, who was allegedly or supposedly his girlfriend, and she was murdered when she was carrying a child, supposedly his child. Also, his accomplice in that murder was his wife, Madhumani Tripathi. Again, I don't have to use an allegedly there because she's also a convict with him. It's a different matter that while they were convicted in Uttarakhand and lost in a jail there, both on medical grounds have got themselves shifted to a hospital. Where else? But in Gorakhpur, so convenient, no? In a good quality hospital, it's very convenient. Subsequently, his son, their son, Aman Mani Tripathi. So the father is Amar Mani Tripathi, his wife is Madhu Mani Tripathi. Both are convicts suffering life sentences for killing Amar Mani Tripathi's girlfriend, unfortunate girlfriend Madhumita Shukla. Their son Aman Mani Tripathi, he again joined politics, contested elections on BSP ticket, and then his wife Sara Singh was murdered, and he is now facing trial for the murder of Sara Singh. 8 years, the trial is still going on. It's the same pattern. People join both gangs and politics from their campuses, and then both lives go on simultaneously. And then even when they get caught, even when they get charged with a really serious crime like murder of your wife, witnesses disappear, prosecution counsels disappear, judges get transferred, and cases can go on and on and on and on. Having said that, however, if you look at the last few weeks, it looks like a whole generation of mafiosi in UP has gone upstairs now, upstairs or downstairs, wherever people go to heaven or hell, I don't know, upar hai ke niche hai, right? So maybe this world is a cleaner place with all of them gone, and Almighty will now have to deal with all of these guys. And I presume if they go up there or down there, they will take their rivalries and gangsterism with them. But I can give you a few conclusions from this. So the first conclusion is, as I told you, that all of the old generation are now gone, barring Brijesh Singh, who is on conditional bail. And let us see if Yogi government lives up to its promise of making UP mafia free, right? It also must prove that its operation against all mafias, so far it has done a very good job. And that is where a lot of the support for Yogi government comes in. But it has to also prove that it's also casteless, it's also caste neutral, or it's also secular. That you can see some evidence, but it's also caste neutral. So Thakur gangsters or Thakur gangs are also punished. So barring Brijesh Singh, all of the old generation mafiosi are gone. Brijesh Singh is on conditional bail, and while our attention has been focused on Mukhtar Ansari and Atiq, who are Muslims and to that extent become very prominent and give us the impression and give everybody the impression, depending on which side you are on, one, that most of the gangs are run by Muslims. These are Muslim gangs. Muslims tend to be mafiosi in Uttar Pradesh. And second, that Yogi government is targeting the Muslim gangs by and large. So the counterintuitive fact there is that two other prominent mafiosi who've been killed in police encounters are Vikas Dubey of Kanpur, who was a Brahmin, and also Anil Dujana just the other day, who was a Gujar but both Hindu. So the first point, all of the old generation are gone, barring Brijesh Singh. Number two, all political parties patronize gangsters and mafias in Uttar Pradesh. No party is an angel. So that is BJP, Congress Party, SP, BSP, all of them. And that you can see from the record of the people we talked about. Someone like Hari Shankar Tiwari, as we just told you, won 6 elections. Between 1997 and 2007, he served in every cabinet, 3 of the BJP, Mulayam Singh Yadav, BSP, all of them. And before that, he won thrice on the Congress ticket. So no party is an angel. They all love mafias as long as mafias can get them votes and dadagiri influence. Next point, mafia activity or gangsterism or organized crime is not confined to any religion or any caste, right? You've seen Muslim gangs, you've seen Hindu gangs. Brajesh Singh is a Hindu gang. Hari Shankar Tiwari is a Hindu gang. Virinder Shahi is a Hindu gang, right? So you've seen Hindu gangs, Muslim gangs. Then all caste forms gangs. It's not just Yadavs or maybe Dalits or given a Chambal stereotype from dacoit movies, Thakurs, or maybe the Phulan Devi story, the lower castes or OBCs, the Nishads, etc. No. Every caste has formed its gangs in the Hindi heartland, particularly as the Gorakhpur history tells us, the upper castes. In this case, the Brahmins and the Thakurs. And if you think the Baniyas got left out, remember Brij Bihari Prasad in Bihar.